So many things that I had wanted to do came true, like Dubai, going on a yacht, boat rides, everything. I just remember thinking I can literally do anything that I want.
You talked about the combination of having pretty privilege and being an empath. Because obviously you've got pretty privilege, you're beautiful, and you're an empath. So I'm sure it comes from experience as well.
You're living in fear. And I think that's my issue with religion. Your soul actually knows everything there is to know about you, about the world, about life, about God. You're going through a process of remembering that, not like discovering who you are. It's learning who you were that you forgot that you were.
Mm.
I have sessions with clients. It's just the most wonderful feeling in the world. Like when I see them changing, like, it's like I have a baby and I'm helping the
Oh,
baby grow. It feels
it's
really
making
good.
me cry because you're so happy. It's so annoying that I'm like this.
Yes,
I would feel
yes.
honored if you could share one of your poetry. Is this like your debut performance?
Yes.
Oh my God, this is like an exclusive. I love you so much. You'll never understand. You'll never get it. Excited, Ria. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Oh, you look beautiful as
Oh, I think.
usual. Also, do you like do you see my neck?
Oh my God, I'm loving this. I'm
No,
loving the hair.
the necklace.
Yeah, your necklace is so on.
The one you got me.
So good. It suits you. I love how it sits on your neck, on your
Thank you
collarbones.
so much. Yeah, I thought that's quite feminine if it's on the collarbone as well. I
Yeah, it
love
does.
this necklace so much. For everyone who doesn't know, Ria got me this for my birthday, and this is a aventurine. I think it's aventurine. I don't know how to pronounce it properly, but it's aventurine, and it symbolizes happiness, clarity, and balance, which is very important. But yeah, I'm so excited to have you. How are
Oh, it's so
you?
to be here. I'm good. I've been excited all morning. I've been like running around. You look so good.
Oh,
You're glowing as usual.
oh, thank you. You look beautiful as usual as well. Honestly, Ria, you are, you know, when someone is just so beautiful inside and out, like obviously you're stunning, beautiful, but your heart and the person that you are is just amazing. Everyone can feel your energy. You're one of the most caring, kind, considerate, beautiful person, and I feel so warm, safe, and loved in your presence. So before we started, I just wanted to say thank you for that, and I'm so grateful to have you in my life. You mean so much to me.
Stop. Grima, you're gonna make me cry, honestly. This is so cute. You're so sweet. And honestly, I'm so, so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful that you're in my life and that I found a sister like you. Honestly, like I am.
You're gonna make me cry as well. For
You're just
those
gonna
who
be
don't,
tears by the end of this.
honestly, for those who don't know, I think episode 16, I connected with Priya, who's actually your twin sister. And we did
Yes.
an episode together, and we've just been soul sisters ever since. And thank the universe that I'm able to connect with you as well. I'm just so proud to be able to call you a sister. I'm just so endlessly grateful for you. You have no idea. Yeah, I'm excited. It's been a long
Yeah.
time coming, though, you being on my podcast.
All in perfect timing.
Exactly. So you are a life coach and, like myself, a self-improvement enthusiast, basically. I wanted to invite you today to learn about your story, and I want to talk a lot about, different endeavors that you've been down and everything. But I think when it comes to self-improvement and wanting to change your life or the course of your life, there's something that people might have gone through, or like a bad experience or something tough. So if you're comfortable, are you able to share with us your story and the start of your self-improvement journey?
Yes, I'd love to. So it started around 2020. It was the time when COVID was kind of like hitting England and the whole world, to be honest. I was in a really dark place. I was at university then, so I think it was like my last year. It was very difficult. I was just experiencing a lot of like depression, anxiety, like PTSD from certain traumatic events that had happened in life, and just like certain family issues, pressure from uni. It was a whole lot, right? And it was really weird because on top of that, I also got fired from my job because I was taking too many sick days off. I wasn't well enough to go in every shift. And so I had a lot of time on my hands. I was at home. I had just kind of finished uni. When you kind of break up and then you do your dissertation and stuff like
Mm.
that. So I was in the middle of doing that. And then I remember it so vividly. Me and Priya were sitting in my room and then we were watching something on YouTube, right? And there was like an advertisement for this website called Gaia. So Gaia is kind of like Netflix, but for like spirituality. all of that good stuff, right? So the advertisement was about one of the shows about this Spanish guy called Matias de Stefano, if I remember correctly his name, and he was talking about Atlantis, and it was something that kind of really called me in because in the past when I was younger, I remember always being really drawn to Atlantis. I didn't really know much about it, but there was a part of me that believed that that's something that actually happened, that it existed, and I just had like a connection with it almost. So when I saw it years later, like almost a decade later, I just thought this is a sign. Like I just felt drawn to get Gaia. So I literally signed up that day. And me and Priya started binge watching Gaia every single day, all these documentaries, and that's when that shift happened in life, you know? That's when everything kind of was put into perspective. Like my depression, anxiety, all these issues I was experiencing in life, they all kind of came to like everything came in like with clarity, right? I understood that like life isn't what I'm thinking of it right now. Like life isn't cruel, it's not vindictive, you know, like it's not out to get me, that I'm creating this reality, that I can take responsibility for it. And yeah, it's just been a whole whirlwind spiral up since then.
So is that when your spiritual awakening happened?
Yes, it was that year. I was just obsessed. Like whatever
Mm.
books, documentaries, YouTube videos I could get on spirituality, I've been there, watched it, seen it. Yeah.
I wanted to ask, you made a TikTok a few months ago, and oh my God, the way you articulated it was beautiful. And I wanted to ask if you could share it here, but it was about the differences between religion and spirituality. I think somebody had asked you if you were religious and you'd said that you weren't, and why you'd chosen the spirituality route. What is the differences and why did you choose spirituality over religion? What kind of family were you brought up in? Like, were you religious, spiritual?
Yes.
You were.
Yes, I
Yeah.
would say, yeah, I would say a bit of spirituality, but mainly focused on religion, like organized religion. I've been to a temple, I've been to a Gurdwara, I've been to a mosque, I've been to a church, I've been in so many different religious institutions, my entire life. And I thought that this is the only way, right? I get to pick out one of these five and see which one resonates with me the most. Funnily enough, when I was trying to be religious, I just felt like I really had a difficult relationship with God and myself because with organized religion, one of the issues I have with it, firstly, disclaimer, right? I'm not out here to bash religion. I think at the core of religious scriptures, it promotes spirituality. It's in alignment with spiritual values and beliefs, right? About oneness, about love, about compassion. But I think sometimes where there's a bit of a misunderstanding and there's a bit of one can be misguided is kind of when people interpret the scriptures, right? Because religious scriptures are more kind of metaphors and they're not take to be taken literally. And sometimes there's a room for misinterpretation, right? So people kind of misinterpret what certain things mean. So going back to the point about my relationship with God, I just felt very distant. I felt like I'm here, God is outside of me. I have to pray this many times. I have to go to church. I have to, go to a temple to find God. I have to obey God. I have to be really good and follow everything that God wants me to. And if I don't, then I'm a sinner, I'm not a good person, that I'm going to be banished to hell forever and like damned forever, like my soul. And it just felt very scary. I felt very scared and I thought, oh my God, like I'm doing all these things that God doesn't want me to do, then, maybe that's it, like I'm going to hell. You kind of give up on yourself because you think, oh my God, I'm doing these things that God doesn't want me to do. Even though it's not like I'm going out murdering people, but like little things of like like drinking or something, little things like that. I'm like, oh my God, I do these things and I felt like God doesn't like me. I felt like God hated me. And
Living in fear almost.
yeah, you're living in fear. And I think that's my issue with religion. It's because
Mm,
listen, there are only two main emotions, right? That you act from. So you have fear and then you have love.
mm,
And everything else is a derivative of one of those two. what religion does is, you know, when people even refer to themselves as God-fearing people, they don't realize, they think that's a good thing, that they fear God, that God should be feared. But how is it that God should be feared when, firstly, fear is a really low vibe to be functioning from, right? You're almost in survival mode. And when
Mm.
you are functioning from fear, you tend to hoard, you attack, you're defensive, you know, you tend to harm other people, you're trying to like keep everything to yourself because you're so scared of loss. Whereas love is expansive, love is giving, love is sharing, love is healing. And that's what religion would like to promote. But unfortunately, it promotes the opposite more. It's like, oh, well, if you don't follow all the 10 commandments, then God's going to do this to you. And it's that's another issue within itself, right? What a paradox it seems that God is presented to be this all-loving, all-powerful, all-giving being, but that's only if you obey him. The moment you disobey him, then all of a sudden he's cruel, he's vindictive, he wants to send you to hell for the rest of eternity. And it wasn't making sense to me, you know, like how can God be the most merciful? Like in some religions, I believe in Islam, it's written that God, Allah is 100 times more loving to you than your own mother. But I know that one day, if I become a mother, that if my child commits a sin, I wouldn't think, you know what, babes, you're going to hell now. That's it, off to hell with you for the rest of eternity. I know that I wouldn't want to put my child through that because that's my child, that's my baby. I created that and I have so much unconditional love for it. But religion doesn't kind of present that idea. I feel like it presents God as conditional. You know, if you are good, if you listen to me, then you will get like redemption and then you'll get to see heaven. It's almost like religion humanizes God, right? Because God isn't human. God is like we're created in the image and likeness of God, which means we're not created to physically look like God, but that means that we have the same abilities and the powers out of God, as in we can create reality out of thin air, literally. Like that's what manifestation is, isn't it? And
Hmm.
we're constantly manifesting because whatever you think, believe, and visualize becomes your reality. Just like how God thought in the beginning of time, I want to experience many different versions of myself. And then all of a sudden, all of creation is created, like the
Mm.
universes were created, right?
Mm.
So, yeah, I think there's many different issues, I think, with religious philosophies. Although I do love the fact that people want to have faith and come together and celebrate their creator, which is amazing. But I think the issue lies when people start to operate from fear rather than
Mm.
oneness, which is spirituality. And you know, when you have all these religious wars of like the Muslims against the Christians, against the Buddhists, against the Jews, and all of that, the very thing that religion tries to promote and which spirituality is about is oneness, that we're all literally just one. We're God separated into little bodies, like different bodies, so that God itself can experience its own creation, right? But
Mm.
religion's like, no, if you're not a Muslim, you're going to hell. If you're not Christian, you're going to hell. Like everyone has their own ideas about what's gonna happen in the afterlife when in reality we'll just go back to being God, like just
Mm.
one with everything.
We spoke about this as well, just in person in real life, about how we always wondered why God is referred to as a he. Because if
Hmm.
you think about it, women are the creators, just in general, like human beings. We create
Yeah.
life, and God obviously is a creator of life and the universe and whatever it is. So why is it referred to as a he? If anything,
I
she's a
think
woman, right? If you're thinking of
yeah,
an actual
it's
being that God is.
yeah, it's crazy. You know what is the answer to that? Patriarchy.
Mm.
Rich old white men and the patriarchy. Organized religion is deeply embedded with patriarchy, right?
Mm.
It's religious scriptures are written by who? Men. For who? Men. Like if you look at a lot of religious scriptures or just any old scriptures and writings, isn't it always like men and mankind and man shall do this and man shall do that? And I always thought maybe they're saying man as a way to refer to man and woman, but no, literally, like women aren't even mentioned in it,
Yeah.
you know? The only thing about Mary Magdalene that the Bible loves to write about is, wait, not Mary Magdalene, Mary Joseph, Jesus's mother, is like her vagina, the fact that she gave birth. You know, they don't talk extensively about other things that these amazing women did, and especially
Mm.
Mary Magdalene, you know, the way they kind of shamed her so much for being so close to Jesus, and you know, there's just so many aspects of it, but it's crazy how it's become so acceptable to refer to God as a he when, I'm sorry, but I've never seen a man give birth. Everything that has been like everything that literally exists has been birthed through a womb, whether that's
Mm.
you, me, any other man, animal, the whole of the universe. It's been
Mm.
birthed through a womb, you
The
know?
only
So
one is a seahorse. That's a man, but that's
is
very
it? I didn't know, I didn't know that. Wow.
yeah, only
That's weird.
male seahorses get pregnant, which is crazy. But yeah, that's like a tiny portion, you know. But yeah,
Wow, it's
exactly.
crazy.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's you know, is religion, it just comes down to the fact that sometimes religion is written, like religious scriptures are written with the person writing them has kind of an agenda. So if you're a rich white man back in the Roman Emperor times and Roman Empire times, and then you're thinking, okay, well, how do I get all of these people to conform and listen to me? And how do I keep all of this power within this Roman Empire? Because that's, I think, a lot of the Bible was written during that time. Christianity itself was taken from other pagan religions. So bits of Christianity actually, you know, like humankind being created in the image and likeness of God. Like there's little bits in the Bible that are actually real, that are actually accurate. And it's just that they've kind of been sprinkled in there. So the normal person wouldn't be able to kind of interpret them in the actual way that they're meant to. Rather they focus on things like, you know, don't do this, don't do that, don't commit adultery, don't, you know, like these are things that men have written to benefit them rather than to this is like a word of God, right?
Mm. Knowing you in real life, you are probably one of the most self-aware people I've met. You're always looking to improve yourself. You're always looking to, whether it's little traumatic events that we've all gone through, there's attachment styles, learning more about what triggers you, that kind of thing. I think when it comes to self-improvement, it's very important for one to be self-aware, because if you're not self-aware, your good qualities and bad, then how are you ever going to improve? For you, how did you gain that self-awareness, and then how would you recommend others as well to figure that out?
Okay, so with self-awareness, essentially the key is you have to know yourself. And in order to know yourself, you have to partake in activities that help you introspect deeply, right? So things like, I know, you know, everyone talks about meditation, but meditation is genuinely one of the most amazing ways to quieten down this inner chatter of your ego and your thoughts and really get deep down into you and into the core of who you are. And you know, God actually speaks to us through the voice inside, like your intuition, your higher self that's all speaking to you from the inside. And once you can quieten your mind, and then you can really hear like what you think is right, what you think is good, what you think is bad, then you get to know yourself more, right? I also love to research things like astrology, you know, we're figuring out my human design and different things like that. I feel like it really helped me become more self-aware because once I realized that, okay, I'm a projector, I don't have as much energy as other people, you know, that that I absorb energy very quickly, that I need more rest, that, you know, I'm here to like guide people rather than just do a 9 to 5 job and just, you know, like really drain myself out. Once I started realizing all of these things, I'm like, okay, cool. Like the reason why I'm feeling tired today is because I've been out and I need to relax, you know? It kind of gives me more self-awareness in that sense. Also, becoming aware of your thoughts and your triggers, right? Because I love reading, I love learning. Me and Priya love, like, we're obsessed. We're like little nerds.
No, I love it. I love it so much. And I feel so grateful that you share everything you've learnt with me as well. I'm so grateful for that.
And it's so fun. I love it. I get so excited. Like learning makes me so excited when I learn something new. I'm like, oh my God, I want to share this with everyone I know because I want other people to be able to benefit from it and, you know, like make changes in their own lives that can be so positive for them. The more I learn about my triggers and my issues, like my underlying issues, the more I'm self-aware. So, for example, say if I'm having a conversation with my mom or something, right? And then she says something that annoys me, that I find myself getting irritable about. And then I'll notice myself because self-awareness is essentially paying attention And a lot of people don't pay attention to their thoughts because they think they're their thoughts. They don't have that separation, right? But slowly with meditation, what you realize is that you are not your thoughts. And because I
Mm.
know that, sometimes sometimes I'm attached to my thoughts, but sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm having like angry thoughts, I'm being like irritable, I'm getting mad. Like, why am I getting mad? Oh, okay, it's because of this and this. Like this happened. And when I was younger, I didn't feel heard, I didn't feel validated. That's why I'm so mad right now. And it kind of makes me understand my triggers better and what I'm doing. So I think paying a lot of attention in moments where you find yourself being very emotionally reactive and maybe
Mm.
unnecessarily so, like
Mm.
maybe somebody did something to annoy you, but maybe you're reacting to it too much. And then even within that, there's something to learn about yourself. And slowly, slowly, it's like a muscle. You have to really work at it and
Mm.
your self-awareness grows.
100%. I think just to add to that as well, that's so beautiful, is shadow work always helps me as well. So even if, like, for example,
Yes.
like you said, triggers always reveal something that you might have need to work on, or a trauma you need to work on, whatever it is, kind of type in what that thing is on Google, just type in shadow work questions with it. So for example, it could be I don't know what's like a I don't know, like if like I get angry very easily, shadow work questions, something like that. And then you can kind of
Yes.
journal it out and then sit with those emotions, sit with those experiences, understand why you feel like that. And that combined with everything you said and meditation, it will change your life. Because meditation as well, like you said, it helps you understand that you're not your thoughts. But it also has a sense of, obviously you've got more of a calmness and then more clarity as well. So you can kind of see things in a more logical perspective rather than emotional. So I think that really helps as well, journaling. Because with your thoughts as well, it's kind of like a big mess in your head. You've got all these thoughts. The second that
Yes.
you start journaling it out, sometimes people think, oh, what's writing it down going to do? I've said it, I've spoken to the universe, I've spoken to God, I've spoken to my friends. What's writing going to do? What writing does is it gets all those intertwined thoughts in your head and puts them into physical form. So, all these thoughts are coming in and you're writing it out in kind of clear, neat sentences, right? And then I've noticed as well when I'm feeling a bit anxious or I've got all these thoughts running through my head, the second I journal them out, it's as though I've literally physically taken them out of my head and put them onto paper. And I don't really think about them anymore because I've kind of made them a physical object and I've taken them out.
Yeah, you're releasing them. You're releasing that anxiety, that tension, all of that. You know what? It's interesting because I think one exercise that I definitely would recommend doing that Priya introduced me to, which basically coincides with everything you've just said about writing. So there's this thing where you put a timer on for 3 minutes, and then what you do is whatever thoughts you have in your mind, you just write them down per line, right? And then after the time is up, you go back and then you label those thoughts. So, for example, I might be writing out thoughts and thinking, oh my God, I feel so silly doing this. Why am I such an idiot? Why do I always do stupid things? And then I'm going to go and label those thoughts like this one's fearful, this one's insecure, this one's angry, this one's self-hatred, And then once you kind of label those thoughts, I feel like that really contributes towards increasing your self-awareness because
Wow.
once you label them, and
Mm.
then you find yourself thinking, why am I such an idiot? You're like, okay, I'm being insecure. Okay, I'm judging myself. Okay, why am I criticizing myself? And then
Yeah.
I feel like that helps you pick up those like thoughts quicker. So you can kind of reverse, like, no, we're gonna neutralize that. Like, I am good, I'm fine.
Oh my God, I love that's so powerful. I love it. I'm gonna try that. I'm doing that today.
Yeah, do it. Honestly, it's so cool. You realize how insecure and fearful your thoughts are. It's
Yeah.
everybody's like that. Everyone in the world is literally like that. We don't think it because we can't see what other people are thinking, but trust me, mentally, most people are very fearful and insecure.
100%. I think even Neale on episode a few episodes ago, he said a quote and it was just you like, you are your biggest hater. It's never
I
anybody
was,
else around you. It's you're your biggest
yeah,
hater.
literally, I was literally about to bring that up. Like, I remember watching your podcast and I remember him saying that, and I thought it's so profound because you are the person that criticizes yourself the most. And you know why that is? It's because you've internalized everything that anyone has ever said to you, all the subliminal messaging that society feeds you from media, from other people, comparing, and then you play that on like a broken record, just on repeat to yourself all the time. Like something happens, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, I'm so fat, I'm so ugly. Do you get what I mean?
Mm.
Vicious cycle, vicious.
100%. You mentioned as well being a projector, and you
Hmm.
said that you love, taking what you've learned and helping other people. Like that's your passion, that's what you live for.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
you're a life coach. So I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you, how did you get into life coaching? Because I've got a very strong feeling, and opinion on life coaching versus therapy. So I'll get into that
Mhm.
after. But yeah, how did you get into life coaching?
Well, it's funny. I remember when I was at uni, like, sorry, I wasn't at uni. I was living in Manchester, and then one of
Big up
my
Manchester.
friends,
Big up
yeah,
Manchester.
big up, 161. I was in Manchester, and then one of my friends, she was going through a hard time, and then she got a life coach. And I remember the first time kind of hearing about it, and I didn't know anything about life coaches before that. And I remember she would always say, like, you should be a life coach, you should be a life coach. And I was kind of in the moment where I was kind of doubting, like, come on, I'm doing so badly right now. Like, I don't feel great. You think I'm gonna give like advice out to other people? And then a few years later, when I moved back home, I just felt inspired to do it. I know that Priya started her life coaching before me, and obviously we're both projectors. We both have the same kind of dream and vision for the world of what we want to do for the world. And I just thought, you know what, I'm not gonna be scared anymore. I know that I have a lot to give. I've learned a lot, and I've studied a lot. So I just pushed myself. I just created an account online and started doing a life coaching course, got my first clients.
Yes,
And
girl.
yeah, it was amazing. I just feel so energized doing it. Like genuinely, sometimes I'll have sessions with clients before I have them. Sometimes I've had like a really bad, challenging day and I think, oh, I really can't be bothered, but I just push myself. And then at the end of it, I'm just a changed person. I feel energized because when you are invited, like for a projector, it's very vital that you're invited in by somebody because a lot of the times I was giving advice out to my friends and family, but I felt bitter because it wasn't asked for and I didn't feel like they appreciated it because I was just giving it, which makes total sense. Like
Mm,
I understand that, right? But when
mm.
someone asks you for like, I want you to help me, it's an invitation. And when a client's being so open with you as well and they're ready to take that, it's just the most wonderful feeling in the world. Like genuinely,
Must be so
it's
fulfilling.
so like when I see them changing like after the first session, second session, and they're just like repeating the things that I've said to them and like, yeah, I listened to this and I just think it's like I have a baby and I'm helping the
Oh,
baby grow or
you
something,
look so happy.
it feels so good. It feels
It's
really
making me
good.
cry because you're so happy. It's so annoying that I'm like this. I always cry. Um,
Feels so sweet.
so yeah, my opinion on therapy and life coaching is that I find therapy, I
Hmm.
mean, I would always go down the life coaching route because therapy, obviously, we all know it's very
Oh,
regulated.
uh-huh. Yes.
And therapists, they're not actually allowed to tell you what to do. That it's kind
Mm-mm.
of a person. I find that therapy is someone that you just vent to, and you don't really get a solution from it, but you just kind of vent. There's someone who will listen to you, obviously, wholeheartedly sometimes, and you vent to them about your problems, and they can kind of give you little tips and advice. Whereas I
Mhm.
find a life coach is like a best friend because again, you vent to them about your problems, and it's a safe space, but they are able to kind of give you that tough love, which I definitely need. And I love to hear that because it shows that the person genuinely cares about you. Yeah, that's my opinion on that. So, why did you opt for becoming a life coach rather than a therapist?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I actually attended a few counseling lectures in my other job, and I remember in counseling learning how, you're in therapy, you're not allowed to kind of direct or give any advice at all, like any guidance. You just kind of have to let them come to that themselves.
Yeah.
And I've actually received therapy myself as well. It was useful, but I think it would have been nicer if I had the other person telling me, okay, look, this is what you're doing, and this is what you need to do and to
Yes.
be able to trust them. I feel like being a life coach is more in alignment with who I am because when I take on the challenge of like wanting to help somebody, right? I'm the type of person where I can see a person and then I can kind of tell the things that are bothering them. It's like I can read energy really well. I can tell, this is what you're going through, this is what you need to do, and these are the things you need to do, right?
Mm.
And I feel like life coaching is more in alignment with that and my personality because I like the freedom of being able to support them wholeheartedly, being going past the things, the boundaries of a therapist, of, you can't say this to them, you can't say this. Like, I want to be able to have tough love and tell you, look, the reason, for example, one of my clients, he really wants to be in a relationship, and he's asking me, Ria, like, why aren't these girls liking me? Why don't they reciprocate it? And a therapist would be like, well, what do you think? What do you think it is? Whereas I'm like, you know what? Look, stop looking for love outside of yourself. Your problem is the fact that you lack love within yourself, right? And I feel like it just kind of shortens it kind of accelerates their growth, rather than me
Mm,
telling them, just think about it. Like, what do you think it is? Because sometimes people don't actually know. And if I can see if I can look at you and I can hear your problem and tell you this is where you're going wrong, this is maybe you might want to try something different. I think it just reaches home a lot more. And
100%. Because it's authentic, isn't it? You're just being real and straight up with them. And like you said, it speeds up the process because you're just getting to the point rather than sitting there and
yeah,
kind of delaying, more sessions and more sessions. And then you kind of basically saying the same thing or venting about the same thing 5 sessions and then there's no solution. Because like you said, sometimes
literally.
they don't know. But how are you able to balance challenging them and being that tough love best friend, but then also supporting them in that journey? How do you find the balance?
You know what it is? I think it's with your intentions, because my intention is I see them, and sometimes I like when I first have client sessions, sometimes when they're so shy and
Oh,
they're
bless
just
them.
they're just a bit scared, and I just, because I'm so empathic and I feel like my heart is so loving, I just see them and I think, oh my God, like, I want to love you and I want to make sure that I can help you as much as I can. And I do it in a way where if I am being honest with them and like having tough love, I'm not doing it in a way where I'm hurting them and I'm being mean to them, right? I feel like because I have emotional intelligence, I kind of like, I know how I would want to be consoled if and helped if I was in a bad place. So because I've experienced being in that place, I feel like I have a very good idea of how to talk to people and
Mm,
tell them, look, this is where you might want to change it, but doing it with from a place of love, rather than I'm here, I know what's right, you do this, do that, you silly boy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be pretending. I want to be like coming from a place of love. And sometimes
mm,
love can be tough, but it doesn't have to be demeaning or
yeah.
cruel or, belittling.
100%. And I think if they have opted for a life coach, they need to hear that tough. Like they've come to improve themselves, so they want to hear that. I think, you mentioned that you're an empath, obviously. So being an empath and a projector at the same time, how are you able to, you know, because I worry that, you're helping all these people all the time, but how are you able to pour into yourself first so that you're able to give from a full cup? So you're not giving all the love that you've got within yourself to them, but you're able to have so much abundance of love within yourself and put yourself first that you're able to give from a full cup. So how do you balance not getting too emotionally attached to the client as well?
You know what it is? I think I learned a lot about that, like having balance, from studying codependency. So within codependency, because I think in codependency, what it is you're basically obsessed and really overly invested in other people's feelings, their emotions, thoughts, their love, like their sickness, their health, all of that, right? But within codependency, I was reading a book, Codependent No More, and the lady author Melody Beattie, she said that we have to start seeing people as responsible and competent enough to deal with their issues. So that means that kind of reassured me, because all my life I thought, okay, I have to take care of everyone. They can't do it. They don't know how to do it. Only I can do it. And I take on that burden on myself. But
Mm,
hearing that other people should be held responsible for their own emotions and they are competent enough to deal with it, I think that helps me balance it, because when I have clients and I know that they're struggling, and I've had a session with them and I know that they're energized from the session, I'm energized from the session, and I see that they've taken on board what I've said to them. After that, I usually feel very good because I don't feel drained. It's like my cup has been full, like filled
mm,
just by helping them. And then say, for example, sometimes they aren't as open to my help and guidance as much as I would like them to be. And it may feel a bit draining, but I just remind myself that it's okay. Everyone takes their own time. Not everybody is going to learn, like Rome wasn't built in a day, and they are competent enough to be able to handle their own issues. They have been handling them their entire life. I cannot spoon feed them. I can only hold their hand and say, look, this is the way. Maybe try it this way, you know? And yeah, I think doing things like that kind of helps me feel okay. And sometimes, say for example, I'm having a really bad day or I'm not feeling well, I do prioritize myself. Like, say if I have a client session and I'm not feeling okay, and I know that I won't be my best self and be able to pour into them as much as I can because I need pouring into, then I just say, look, can we postpone? Can we like delay it a little bit so that I can be there for myself, and then I also can be there for them too.
I love that. That's so healthy. And I think it shows, it kind of puts a bit more trust in the client as well, because they think, okay, she actually wants to help me from a full cup. She wants to actually, she actually genuinely cares about me. That's why she's going away, pouring into herself, working on herself, and then coming back to me. I
Yeah.
really like that. Like, she's not just doing it because, I've paid her or whatever it is, or we need to do it. She's
Yeah.
doing it from a place of love.
Yeah, I want them to get out of it as much as they can, and I can only do that when I'm feeling my best. And I have to prioritize and accommodate my own needs first to feel my best, to be the
Hmm.
best for them.
I love that. Manifestation. I think you're
Hmm.
an expert, aren't you, on
Oh.
manifestation? So I wanted to ask you,
Stop.
what are your manifestation techniques? So I know some people like to visualize, vision boards, journaling. People have got their different techniques. What's yours?
You know what? I feel like I dabble in a little bit of everything.
Ooh.
Um, I love like journaling. I have really gone into visualizing as well, especially using Mind Valley. There's like one course on there called quantum jumping. I started doing that recently, and before my video,
On your TikTok.
the pretty privileged one,
Yeah.
being pretty and empathy, and you know how it got so many views so
Hmm.
quickly. It's funny because the night before I was actually doing a quantum jump and I was visualizing myself kind of getting more views, more engagement, reaching more women, like my target audience. And I was shocked. The next day I looked at it, I was like, oh my God,
I
this is
know, it went viral. Look
it was
at
crazy. I was like, damn, I've got this down. But
you.
I think my main, I would say, key point with manifestation is letting go and having trust, right? So, especially with visualization as well. So, for example, let's talk about Dubai, right? I had been wanting to go to Dubai for a year. Like last January, I wanted to go to Dubai, and I thought, oh my God, this is the year, I'm going this year. I had an inner intention of
Mm,
wanting to go to Dubai, right? And then there's a thing called having an outer intention. So an inner intention is like you're deciding, okay, I want to do this. I want to go to Dubai. Outer intention is this shift. That's where I saw a shift because I wanted to go Dubai since last Jan. And then I actually went that same year in December, right? And then so all that for all those 11 months, I had this inner intention. I want to go, I want to go, I want to go. And then in December, it changed because in December, I said, you know what? I'm gonna go. I don't know how. I don't know when. I don't know how this is going to happen, but I'm going to go, period. And anybody telling me otherwise, I just know, like, you're just lying to me, get away. I'm going to go. I don't care. Whatever doubt you have, I'm gonna go, right? And then that's when the shift happened because of my outer intention, me telling the universe, look, I'm going to do this. I don't know how you're going to do it for me, but you're going to figure out a way and I'm going. And that's when I realized, oh my God, I'm going.
the
Yeah,
Instagram
and I,
photos are fire.
oh,
So
thank
fit. You look so good.
thank you. And it's funny because the whole of last year, like I was like, I want to go on a yacht. I want to like, I want to see motorbikes like in a cage doing a cage, what's it called? Cage
It's the cage
motorbikes.
fire. I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name, but it's the one where they do the fire and the show thing, right? The motorbikes. Yeah.
Like they have
Got
like
the top of
a cage and then they're doing like motorbikes are just going like so quickly. It's
Mm,
something I always wanted to do. Like so many things that I had wanted to do just came true. Like Dubai, going on a yacht, like going on boat rides, like desert safari, everything. I just remember being there and thinking, oh my God, like I can literally do anything that I want. Like I can't believe I've gotten here. I can do anything, right?
mm,
So I think the key factor in manifestation and getting what you want is having faith. Have that faith that what I want is achievable. I can do anything and that it's coming
mm,
to me no matter what. A lot of the times we fail in manifestation. Like, don't get me wrong, there are so many things that I wanted to manifest that didn't come into fruition. And I know why. It's because I doubted myself. I
mm,
thought, okay, I'm trying to manifest 10,000 pounds, for example, right? And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to manifest it. I'm going to manifest it. But I didn't have full faith that I would. I would have doubts within myself. And when you doubt, you're showing the universe lack. You don't believe in abundance. You don't believe that the universe can do it. And whatever I thought I was attracting. So when I kept thinking about Dubai, going there, visualizing being on a yacht, being on the beach, like going around doing these things, I didn't have doubt. But once you can figure that doubt out and you can say, because the thing is, it's not like I didn't doubt it. Like I had doubtful thoughts, but I just didn't entertain them. As soon as I had those doubtful thoughts, I think,
Mm,
no. Like whenever you find yourself having doubtful thoughts, think, no, lies, lies.
yeah.
I'm going,
Yeah.
period. Like that's it. Done.
I had TikToker Hums on my podcast last week. We filmed together, and I basically asked him his manifestation techniques as well, because so many of the things that he's wanted in life have come true, and even to a different extent, like a huger extent. And he came to a similar conclusion as you. So I mean, I figured it out. So I was like, okay, so I would say your manifestation technique is gratitude, authenticity, and discipline, but also just trust in the universe. Like you just know it's going to happen, and no other thought or doubts ever can get to you, because you just know it's going to happen.
Yeah, literally, that's it.
You mentioned it very, very briefly before, but emotional intelligence. I think you and Priya are probably the most emotional intelligent people I know. How did you work on that emotional intelligence?
You know what? It's funny because I didn't realize that I was emotionally intelligent until like recently, until I got older.
Mm,
Um, I didn't actually know what emotional intelligence was before because the only kind of intelligence that was kind of encouraged in my household was just like having an IQ, like educational kind of academic intelligence. So emotional intelligence, I feel like was almost a byproduct of experiencing trauma, a difficult upbringing, and also being an empath, right?
mm,
You know how I mentioned before about knowing how to balance tough love and then also having tough love, but then also being like helpful towards my
yeah.
clients and like how emotional intelligence played a part in that. Well, essentially, I managed to develop my emotional intelligence because as a child, when I wasn't always validated or loved or acknowledged and felt seen or understood, I knew the lack, like I knew how painful that was. And when you go through pain, like most people, you can either deal with it in two ways. You can either think, okay, I never want to put anybody else through this, and I'm going to try everything to make sure they don't go through that. Or you can think, F the world, everyone's going through this. How dare
Mm,
I go? And then I chose the former. I thought, you know what, I don't want anyone to go through this. So I think from a very young age, I managed to understand how other people feel. And I thought, okay, well, they someone just said something. It's like I became very hyper vigilant to people's emotions and their feelings and their energy because growing up in a household where you also don't feel like that safe, you have to be very hyper vigilant because if you're not hyper vigilant and your parent comes in and they're not having a good day, like you could be in danger as a child, right? And because of that hyper vigilance and being so hyper aware of other people's emotions and feelings, it's easy for me to kind of understand what to say to them to console them, like the right words. I feel like when somebody's upset, I kind of know what to say to them because I'm like, okay, this is what I would feel like I would want to hear to feel validated, heard, seen, and loved.
mm. Going back to manifestation, I wanted to ask you about, you've got such an abundance mindset. You knew you were going to Dubai, you knew it was going to happen, you knew you were going to, go on a yacht and whatever it is. How does one get over having limiting beliefs? So when they might think that they want something, but they do not believe that they're going to get there because it's only for certain people. Or if I look like this, then maybe this could happen. Or if I had this much money, then this could happen. How would you get rid of that limiting belief?
You know what it is? It's very demanding because your brain has almost been wired and programmed by society to be scarcity based, right? Fear based, scarcity based. There's not enough. I need to hoard. I need to hide. I need to take, right? So what it is I think that's where self-awareness comes in as well. So when you see or find yourself thinking, you know, oh, I can't do this because I don't have the money. Oh, I can't do this because I don't have the money. You have to be the one to play that part and think, no, why can't I do it? Other people can do it. Money isn't even an issue. It's when you realize that. you are the source of abundance. Everything, like I've seen so many different people online speak about this, about how the things that you have in your life are not because of the people gave them to you or brought them to you, it's because you attracted them all to you. So then I would think in my life, like before Dubai, I would think, okay, well, I've been on so many of the holidays, been on so many nice trips, had gifts, all of this. Then I was the one to attract that to me. Other people didn't give that to me. I attracted them in my life, which means I'm the source of abundance. I'm the one
Mm.
that's like the super attractive, being like, come on, give it to me.
Yes.
And so you
Divine
have
feminine.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. And you have to remind yourself that you are the source of abundance, that there is nothing outside of you. Everything you have, you attracted that,
Yeah.
no one else did that. So you just have to like rationalize these self-limiting beliefs. And it's very demanding in the sense that you will get a lot of some self-limiting beliefs, but whenever you get them, like for example, negative thoughts, you have to be like, no, neutralize. I can't get it. Let me look at my life and let me make a list of all the things that I have received.
Mm.
Even me now, like so it's funny because so many people say to me like, Ria, like you're so good at manifesting, you're so quick at manifesting. But like a part of me knows that, but it's like the other part of me is still in doubt, like what? Like, if I'm trying to manifest something new, I kind of think, oh no, like maybe I won't get it. Like there's always going to be that kind of doubt because when you've been programmed with it for the entirety of your life, sometimes
Mm.
it's hard to kind of like completely um remove that program for me. But all you can do is every day try and maybe do things like make a list of other things that you've manifested in your life before, or maybe start by manifesting things like little things that you think are believable for your mind to manifest. Say, for example, you want to manifest a lot of money, right? I wouldn't recommend you starting off with I'm going to manifest 1 million because to your mind it seems inconceivable, right? But for you to manifest, say, £100, £200, £1,000, that's more conceivable to your mind and more believable. So maybe start off small, and then once you manifested that £100, you're like, okay, I got this. So the next time
Mm.
you have like a self-limiting thought, you can think, okay, well, I managed to get that 100, and there's no difference in manifestation. For example, the same amount of belief goes into manifesting a cup of coffee as it does to manifest a mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, it's just, do you believe that it's possible? Most of the time, we can easily manifest a cup of coffee, but when it comes to like a yacht or a mansion or a sports car, you're like, no, that's not possible, right? It's because you're still operating from scarcity.
Yeah.
But there is no scarcity, The
Mm.
universe doesn't see any difference between £100 and £1,000.
Yeah.
It's just like there's no difference for it.
Because it's the same process of it coming to you. It's just the thing is
Exactly.
different.
Yeah, exactly. Like the process is the same. The results might vary a little bit by the number of zeros, but that's it.
Yeah. One thing that has really changed my life is the people around you in your environment. I think
Mhm.
obviously you and I, we've got an abundance mindset and being with each other, like, we always believe in each other's goals and visions completely. Because I think I've kind of ended some friendships where it's kind of like you said, a scarcity mindset. And I don't know if that's me not being able to separate my abundance mindset with their scarcity mindset, but I just physically feel like I can't be in that environment anymore.
And I completely understand why. You know, Negative energy is palpable, and negative
Mm.
energy is so much more infectious almost than positive energy. Well, I don't know, it kind of clings onto you more, I feel like. And
Mm.
when you're surrounded by people who scarcity based, fear based, judgmental, criticizing everything. They're unhappy with life. Maybe they have a victim mentality. It's the longer like you spend with them, all of their thoughts, their energy, their emotions, you're absorbing them. Especially if you're an empath and you're sensitive to people's energy, you're taking it in and you don't even know it.
Mm.
So tomorrow, your friend today might think, oh, why does God hate me? Why can't this work out? You are absorbing that. So
Mm.
tomorrow, maybe you may say something like that, or you may think like something bad might happen and you might think like that. And so it's really important to protect your energy. We have a lot of things called energy vampires. So some people, they're not doing great. They feel very negative. They have a lot of resentment towards life, and they see you and you're like you're so bright, your light is shining, and you're so happy, and you're so abundant, and you understand life, and you have clarity. And it's like they almost like steal that energy from you. They kind of feed off you. You know, like I'm
Mm.
sure when you hung around with these people, didn't you feel like your energy was being drained? Like you felt so drained after it.
Yeah. You can physically feel it. Like when you leave the house to go see them and then you come back, you just feel depleted. It's not a nice energy. Whereas when I finish hanging out with you and Priya, for example, my vibrations are through the roof. I just think I can conquer the world. I can do anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that
exactly.
is priceless, having that
Mhm.
energy around. I'm so grateful for you.
Yeah. I'm so grateful for you. Honestly, it's such a rare and beautiful and precious thing to find people like that in your
Yeah.
life, because I feel like sadly a lot of people are on the opposite end. They're not doing the greatest. I mean, although the consciousness of the earth is increasing and rising, and people are getting more and more spiritual, which is a beautiful thing, but that means that you still have to be wary of the ones that aren't where you are yet. And I think that's the point where you kind of grow out of certain people. You know,
Yeah.
you realize that they play their part, and now it's time to move on with people who are more in alignment with
Yeah.
who you are and what you believe.
Yeah, it's not like a personal thing. It's just, I hope you find everything, I wish you well, of course, with my whole heart, but I think
Mhm.
this is not serving me anymore. Maybe I'm not serving you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
But
exactly. It all happens for a reason, and it's always for your benefit.
100%. We mentioned it earlier, but your viral TikTok from a few days ago, just the
Yeah.
way that you articulate things is just beautiful. Like, look at how many people tuned in to listen to that. Do you know what I mean? The way you articulate words is just it's just beautiful. I just love it the way you explain things, and it's with so much that you can tell it comes from the heart, and you're so well educated in whatever it is that you speak about. So yeah, thank you for just sharing all your knowledge with us and everything. But what I wanted to ask you about that TikTok is you talked about the combination of having pretty privilege and being an empath in this world, and you explained it so beautifully on there, but are you able to please share it here with us as well? Because obviously you've got pretty privilege, you're beautiful, and you're an empath. So I'm sure it comes from experience as well, that TikTok.
Mhm. Yeah, it does. It does. You realize, I think I noticed it more because I remember a time where I didn't feel attractive. I didn't feel like wanted or seen or validated, right? And it's kind of like going from one extreme to like growing all like up older, having kind of like a glow up and like receiving any like attention and compliments, and having the world kind of treat you differently.
Mm,
I think that's why it's something that I felt like, okay, I want to talk about and address. Being pretty and empathic is dangerous in the sense that having pretty privilege in itself has two sides, right?
mm,
Two sides of every coin. You got the good, you got the bad. As great as it is receiving attention and love and all of that validation from society and people, at the same time you kind of become like a walking target, because wherever you go people kind of assume based on your look certain things. So a lot of people assume that because you're pretty you're not intelligent. They feel like, oh, because you're pretty maybe you're not that well educated, that you're just like your looks, that's all you are. People assume that because you're good looking, that you're stuck up, like you think you're better than other people, that maybe you're arrogant. People think that you're kind of like heartless and selfish almost.
mm,
And what it is, when you're empathic, you absorb everything. So I spent a lot of time around people who weren't as like, I was insecure then, even though I look different from what I did as a child. Sometimes I still feel like that little girl that didn't feel loved or didn't feel beautiful. And that was bad because I didn't see my own value.
mm.
So other people knew that I didn't see my own value. So they thought, okay, well, it's easy to take advantage of her, like manipulate her, people will be friends with you because they just want to be seen with you rather than because they actually care about you. Like sometimes I'd had like friends make like kind of, like they'll compliment you, but you can really feel that it's not like genuinely coming from their heart. Like when you compliment me, I'm like, it really touches me because I'm like, oh my God, like she sees me, like she genuinely means it from her
Yeah.
heart. Like you can tell so easily. But when someone compliments you, like, oh, you look nice, and I'm like, oh, like you just kind of take it in, don't you? Especially
Yeah.
when you have pretty privilege, but you don't even feel pretty. or you don't feel as secure in yourself as you would like to, and people are making passive aggressive comments to you, or a lot of people make rumors up about you, it's very easy to take that in as an empath and kind of think, oh, maybe there's something wrong with me, like maybe they're right, maybe I don't know, you just kind of absorb all of it, absorb, and you it really shapes how you feel about life. I feel like
Mhm.
it makes you kind of distrustful of people because you're like, oh, okay, well, will I ever find anyone that like actually sees me and doesn't like doesn't resent me, or like doesn't think that I'm like make assumptions about me or me being a certain way. And I'm really, really grateful that I have found, like amazing friends and people like you in my life that, who are such high vibes, so secure in yourself, so loving, so giving. And because sometimes when you have pretty privilege, I think people get scared to like compliment you because they think that, oh, if they compliment you, then like you're gonna have a big head and you'll be really arrogant. So, and then, like I'd have so many times where I'm like, oh, like I feel like I look good. Not that you want like people, like it's nice to be
No, but it's
complimented,
nice. It's
right?
natural, isn't it?
Yeah,
You want to hear it's natural. It's
like it
natural.
is nice, but it's like sometimes people withhold it because they assume that you already know it. Like one
Mm.
time I was speaking to this guy, and then I was just being myself and, being confident. And then he said to me something like, oh, like when you gas yourself up so much, like when you're so confident, like how do you expect other people to compliment you? I feel like I don't have space to compliment you because you're so confident. Like I don't want you to get a big head. And I just think, oh my God, like, okay, cool. That one got blocked. And then
Also, I'm not putting this in the podcast, but I know who it is.
yeah, it's that one. I was just like,
Yeah,
oh
Priya
God.
told me. Ugh.
Yeah. Also, when you have pretty privilege, you realize people kind of like when you get more privilege, people resent you for it. Like for example, at the workplace, like at your workplace when people are like going out their way to help you or everyone's being really nice to
Mm,
you. I mean, I was at one workplace and there was this one girl there that was really nice to me. She was like European background. She was
mm.
really nice to me, but then to my other friends who are also Indian or Pakistani, like Asian, she was being racist towards them. And I just thought, this is crazy, man. Like I can't believe that because she fancied me, she was being nice to
Right.
me. But because she didn't fancy my colleagues, she was being racist to them. And I just thought,
Mm.
just because you think I'm pretty doesn't change my ethnicity. Like I'm still Asian, and you clearly have a problem with Asians, but
But
other
you're an
Asians,
exception because you're a pretty one.
yeah, it's crazy, because I have experienced racism as a child, and I just didn't think that, oh, okay, when I'm older, people are going to be less racist because I'm more attractive. Like it doesn't make sense. Like racism itself is so illogical, but
Mm.
yeah, it was madness.
Do you know what it's giving? It's giving the same energy that boys, when they're mean to a girl, or they're not very kind about women or to women just because they're not attracted to her. Whereas if they're attracted
Oh.
to her, they're
Mhm.
so kind, they're so whatever it is. It's giving the same energy as that.
Yeah, and you know what? People like when that happens, people resent you like, oh, like this person's treating you better because you're pretty, but they don't realize that that person has an agenda. Like they're
Yeah.
being nice to me
It's
because
surface
they
level.
yeah, it's surface level. They don't see me. They don't know me. They
Mm.
just like the way that I look. They like my body. They like my face, and it's very shallow.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. When you have superficial friendships or relationships with people, and you thought, oh, this is deep, but then you realize,
Mm.
okay, well, it was just my looks that really kept you here. That's it.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
mm,
But I think as an empath as well, maybe you're able to kind of feel, I mean, obviously you're able to feel that and dissect who you want in your life and who you don't know, which is great.
yeah, definitely. You have to learn the hard way.
Yeah, I know it's
You,
awful.
but it's okay because those are the lessons that stick the
Yeah,
most. So I'm grateful for
100%. I think the bad experiences is where we learn the most about ourselves and the world as well. So we have to, even though it's awful and we don't wish it on anyone else, we have to be grateful for those experiences in a way. Because had those
that.
not have happened, we wouldn't be where we are today or know what we know today or carry ourselves the way we do now. But moving on to something amazing is your poetry. Oh my
Yeah.
God, Ria, I was obsessed. So Ria sent me 4 poems and they're She, My Body, Life, A Girl is Born, and The Dark Hole. So I read all four of them back to back, and I was just pouring out tears because just the way that you're able to take, the experiences that you've been through and just so beautifully articulate them into little stanzas in the poem. I wanted to ask you, first of all, what got you into poetry, and then how are you able to take those experiences and, write them out so beautifully?
So you know what? Poetry, I had always been a very avid reader. I love reading, love poetry. When Rupi Kaur's books were first out, I remember buying them and just like obsessively reading them.
Oh my God,
I
Rupi Kaur, that you just unlocked a memory. Oh my
Yeah, do you
God.
remember? It's
Yes.
sunflower. What was it? Her sunflower something?
Something like that, yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my
something.
God.
Yeah, I remember that when that I was at university, and then I was going through a really hard time at that point, and I had been through some traumatic events, and I started reading her poems. I could relate a lot to them, and I started listening to spoken poetry as well. So poetry really drew me in because it's when these women would be there speaking, speaking their poetry, their art, and it's like they were speaking to my soul, these women I didn't even know, but everything they were saying, I just felt so seen and understood and inspired by them. And I thought, you know what, I want to be the same. One day, I remember in one of my diaries, actually, when I first ever bought it, I wrote in the first diary entry, I wrote, this I'm buying this book because I want to become like Rupi Kaur, and I want to write poetry. So let's see how it
Oh.
goes. And yeah, since then I started writing poetry, and it was a really nice creative outlet for pain. I think it was a very healthy outlet, healthier than the other choices I was making at the time. So yeah, I stopped for a while though, and then recently I started again. I think it's the fear of like not being good enough because I'd read so much poetry and so many amazing poems. I just always thought these people will always write better than me. Like I will never be able to produce something like that, like something that would inspire so much emotion in somebody else and touch them the way I've been touched by poetry. But that's why, it's so heartwarming and heart touching, and it just means so much to be able to share my poetry with people like you, and the way you reacted to it. Like I actually cried, like I cried so much because I
I
thought, wow.
cried. If you saw me cry,
I just
I
like
felt so emotionally touched, honestly.
it's so beautiful. That's why I love it, and I feel like I just feel even more inspired to do that and to share my work, because I would love to have other women and people read that poetry and to feel moved and to feel like they are seen, and that they're not alone in what they're feeling.
That is so beautiful because what you're doing is you're channeling your creativity, but then you're also helping people. And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it so much. I didn't put this in the thing that I sent you on Instagram, but I thought about it this morning and I was like, maybe at the end of the episode, you could I think life would be a nice one to read out at the
Yeah,
end.
okay,
Would you like
yeah.
to do that? This could be like your debut performance of a poem. If you're comfortable, of course.
Yeah, no, I would love to. And I actually would like to read Life. I think Life's a good one.
It's a good one to end on, isn't it? Okay, we'll do
Yeah.
it. Um,
Okay.
I'm excited. By the way, is there anything that I've not, because I've come to the last two questions, but is there anything that I've asked you that, I haven't asked you that you wish I had asked you or we'd discussed?
Um, you don't know. You've been really good.
Are
Like
you
you've asked
sure?
really thought-provoking questions. Yeah. Everything when I read them, I was like, wow, I love these. I love how deep you
Oh,
think and
thank you.
how thought-provoking they were. Amazing, perfect questions. Genuinely. I couldn't have
Thank you.
worded them better myself.
Because obviously it's been quite a while, and like you, sometimes I do compare myself to like big podcasters I like to look up to, and I think, oh, are my questions as good as theirs? Or I think, there's so much that I do want to ask, but maybe I'm not able to kind of articulate them into a proper question, or are these deep enough, or are these, are these going to get my guests thinking and that kind of thing? So thank you, that means a lot. But if there
Yeah,
is anything, just let me know.
I will do that. Honestly, before I did it, I was feeling a bit nervous, and I thought, you know what, it's okay. I don't need to worry. She's an amazing host. I knew that you'd make me feel comfortable and easy, and yeah, it's been perfect. It's been the best podcast I've ever done.
Stop it.
It is.
Thank you. I've asked a few of my guests this question, and I have a little opinion on it, but I think it's an unhealthy opinion because in my head, I want to be happy all the time. And I have this,
Mhm.
I think it is toxic. When I'm not happy in little moments here and there, I hate it. And I feel as though I can't, I don't know, I just want to get out of it really quickly. So I don't suppress my emotions. Like if I'm feeling sad or frustrated or something, I'll journal it out, meditate, sit with it for a little bit. But I want to get out of it straight away. Like I want to be happy all the time. And if I'm not happy, I feel a bit uncomfortable. So for
Mhm.
you, what would you say happiness is? Is it a destination that we all need to aspire to be, or is it just a feeling in the moment?
I think happiness is more about the journey rather than the destination. For example, when you put a goal on your happiness, so if you say, when I'm a millionaire, then I'll be happy. And then when you're a millionaire, you're thinking, okay, I want to be a billionaire, then I'll be happy. When you do that, it's like you're kind of saying, okay, when I have this, then I'll be happy. But in order for you to get anything that you want, firstly, you actually need to be happy because that's when you're attracting the most to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one should aspire to be happy as much as they can now without having even what they want, right? Without having a healthy body or mind or whatever. Like try to be happy and grateful for what you have now so then you can attract more of what you want.
Mm,
And also, I love that, you want to be happy all the time because you know what? It is a good thing. Like being happy, you're such a high vibe and attracting so many good things into your life. Also, but I think the issue may come with because happiness is an emotion and because
mm,
emotions are temporary, so and you go through different emotions, don't you? Like something might upset you, something might really make you happy. So I think it's important to be happy and enjoy that happiness when you are happy, but don't put too much pressure on yourself to always remain in that state because I
mm,
think it's good that you still like journal and meditate and kind of feel out your other emotions,
mm,
which is amazing. I think, yeah, that's right. Because as long as you're feeling them out, you're acknowledging them and you're letting them go, that's a good thing. But the thing is, life is all about experiencing a wide range of emotions, right? That's what makes life so amazing because one day you'll feel really happy, the next day you may feel sad or a bit down, and then you may feel happy again, and you kind of need that duality so that you can appreciate the other, because
yeah.
if you were just
Yeah, you can
you know
appreciate the good times, isn't it? And those low moments, or the
yeah,
other way around.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're happy all the time, it's like you don't know what happiness is because you haven't felt your pain as
Mm,
deeply, you know? And I think all of human emotions are very beautiful, very deep, and they should be honored. Like I think we should, because society and this patriarchal system makes us feel like we have to be happy all the time. If
mm,
we're not, we have to pretend to be happy.
mm,
We have to be okay so that we can be good employees slash slaves and keep the system and the economy going because that's all that really matters. But yeah, honor your emotions. When you're sad, let yourself be sad. Like,
mm.
just let it out. As long as you're letting all of your emotions out, you are good.
100%. Because if you do suppress them, they will come out in the future in a very ugly form. But yeah, going
Mhm.
back to what you said just then about feeling happiness in the moment, I was watching one of Tam Kaur's recent vlogs or a little Q&A that she was doing. And obviously we all know that she's moving to London later this summer. And she was getting really excited to move in with her man. And, she's going to be in London in her favorite city. And she's always dreamt of this moment growing up. And then she started to say, wait, I was placing my happiness in the future. I'm always happy in the moment right now, no matter what my situation is. I never think I'm going to be happy once I get there. I know I'm going to get there, but it doesn't mean I'm not happy right now. I'm still happy right now and I'll still be
Yeah.
happy then because you're not placing your happiness in the future and when you get a certain thing. But
Mhm.
she said something so powerful and she said, I sat back and I thought, wait, I'm not going to be in this apartment anymore. I'm not going to be living by myself anymore, having this space where I've made so many memories, so many of my manifestations have come through. I've got so much peace here because I'm completely by myself. I'm so focused on the future and moving in with my man and in my favorite city in the world that I've completely forgotten, wait, I'm never going to have this time again. So she's really
Mhm.
taken the time right now to appreciate living, in Birmingham in her flat right now by herself, which I think is beautiful because you're not placing happiness
Yeah.
once you get the thing or once you get there. You have to feel happy in order to get there. And when you get there, you're going to feel even more joy.
Yeah. You know what it is? It makes me think of the fact that it's so important to be in the present moment,
Yeah.
because when you're in the present moment, everything's great. Like, you've got a beautiful home, you're healthy, you're loved, you're with family, you're supported. Everything's great. A lot of people just think, oh no, when I'm a millionaire, then I'll be happy. Until then, I'm gonna grind and, like do ridiculous hours and just work, work, work and put my happiness to the side. But it kind of chips away at you. And I think when you're in the present moment, then you just have so much gratitude. You're like, damn,
Yes.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
Then that means you're happy. That means that whatever you want is coming to you, meaning you'll be even more happy. And it's just like a really upward spiral in that
Yeah.
way.
100%. Like I think we all know that in order to be whole, you need to feel whole first. And
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, if if you want £1 million and you're only going to be happy once you get that £1 million, trust me, when you get the £1 million, you'll feel happy for maybe a day maximum. That's going to wear off because you need that deep inner happiness and deep gratitude for life. And also
Mhm.
purpose is so important.
Yeah, you know what it reminds me of? When you just mentioned the getting the £1 million, it kind of reminds me of payday. Sometimes in this country where a lot of people get really excited when it's payday,
Yeah.
then like when payday hits, it's like they're happy, but then they're sad because they have so many bills going out, and then they're already worrying about where the money's gonna go, and then they're trying to put their happiness on the next payday. Yeah, I feel like it's almost kind of the same, like if you were to get that £1 million and then you're happy, but
Mm,
then you're thinking about all the things that you're going to have to spend money on, like your money decreasing, but you can't be happy then either. So I
yeah.
think, being happy in the present moment now, and I love that you can do that. You can see, the thing is, you can see the happiness from you. Like I always say this to you, you are glowing, like whether it's your pictures, whether it's you in real life, whether it's you right now, like you are glowing, and you're glowing because like you're like a vessel of light. Like that's how it is. Like the light, the happiness is just glowing out of you. You can physically see it.
Thank you.
Genuinely.
Same with, honestly, same with you. Same with you, always. Because I think we've learned to, going through really dark times, both of us, I think we've learned to appreciate how beautiful life can be when you're pouring into
Yeah.
yourself, when you're being grateful, when you're, looking at the beautiful things in life and just trusting in the universe and trusting that everything is going to work out for you. And surrounding yourself with beautiful, but like there's so many things that have made, me be such a happy person today. And I'm eternally grateful, you being one of them.
The feeling is mutual.
Oh, I'm so honestly, I say this to Priya every day. I thank the universe because I do my gratitudes every single day. I wake up, first thing I do is I sit up and I just think, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful that, I've got my own space. I'm grateful that I've got a roof over my head. I always put you and Priya in there because I think I've told you this from the start that when I was younger, I always wanted a high vibe friend. Like I always wanted that we're sisters, we can tell each other everything. It's a safe space. I feel very safe with you and Priya. Like I never, ever, ever feel judged. I've made some mistakes here and there, cringy moments, whatever it is. I've never felt judged by either of you. You support me and you give me tough love, and I appreciate you both so much. Seriously, every single day, I think, because when I was younger, I was like, because sometimes you can open up to some people and maybe you feel a bit judged, and obviously us being empaths as well, we can feel people's energy. I
Yeah.
always feel safe with both of you, so safe. And that honestly is priceless. Like no money or whatever it is can ever compare to that. I am so grateful.
Same, honestly, same. I think I got to the point where I just thought maybe, sometimes when you have like a bit of bad luck with friends, like maybe they
Yeah.
don't last, or maybe like you're not always in alignment with one another, and you don't always feel heard, seen, validated, or
Mm,
safe.
mm,
Um, I think it's just a blessing, like to have you in our lives. I always say this to Priya, like even yesterday, I think it was yesterday. When you emailed me about my poems, I remember being upset, and then like Priya came in the room, and then I was just like, oh, like I'm so touched. Like, where did you find this gem? Like, genuinely, like I literally thank Priya so much that like she brought you into my life, and that you found her, that we found each other. I'm so grateful. Genuinely, I'm so grateful. It's like when Priya would tell me about you, like before she ever met you, and whenever I saw any of your videos, I just always said to her, like, I just have such a good feeling about Garima. I just always felt like you're just like such a good soul. Like you can tell when someone's a good, sweet, genuine soul. And felt that straight away. Like the whole time I felt that. And usually it's kind of hard to feel that with people a lot these days, but more and more it's getting, I'm glad. I'm really glad to have
Oh,
you here. Be here.
thank you. I appreciate that so much. I feel so like honored that I'm able to be that. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
You're just so cute. I just want to hug you.
Oh. What are your top three book recommendations as an avid reader like yourself? So that's going to be hard because I know that you read all day long and, what are your top
No,
three that you
when you
recommend?
when you sent me the question, I was like, oh God, okay, I have to limit it to three. Okay. But I did come up with the three top ones. So the first one that I just actually started reading recently, which I think is mind-blowing for everybody to read, is
Mm.
called The Complete Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch.
Hmm.
So basically it's this man who ended up channeling God. He was going through a really difficult time and he ended up channeling God. So God was like writing through him. And then God was answering questions, like having a conversation with him and answering all the questions that you would need to know about what God really is, and especially shining light on religion. So, everything I discussed with you about religion and the issues with it, God itself said, like God herself literally wrote through him and said, like the way your religious philosophies are, they're not a full, complete, accurate reflection of what I am and what I believe. Um, and then there's another one called The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer.
Yeah,
Um,
Hum's recommended that one as well.
yeah, it's
He
such
said
a
that.
good book, like so good. It really helps you understand that you're not your thoughts, you're not your mind, you are just God, essentially. The other one is The Gift of Fear.
Okay.
So the Gift of Fear is essentially a book about intuition. It's written by a man who is like a billionaire. He runs a company where they essentially help like celebrities, like high status people and normal people as well with like attacks. For example, like like any threats that they may have, like stalkers, harassment, murders, all of that kind of stuff. So I think it's a really, really vital book, especially for women to read,
Mm.
because it talks about your intuition and how your intuition and being aware of it and listening to it can literally save your life. Every woman needs to read it genuinely, because the way he speaks about like all these anecdotes of these women who nearly got murdered if they hadn't have listened to their intuition. I
Wow.
think it's so so key, so vital for every woman to read. Genuinely, it's mind-blowingly good. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'll link all of those in the description of every single platform that this is on. But last question is, what are some tips that you have for somebody who wants to start embarking on their self-improvement journey? Maybe they could be rock bottom and they can't see a way out, or, they just kind of want to improve where they are right now.
Okay. I think there's quite a few different things that I would advise. I think one of the first things that I would say is that when you start embarking on the self-improvement journey, you'll realize that firstly, being open-minded, right? Because all our lives, human beings, we tend to be a little bit arrogant at times and think that we know it all because our ego
Mhm.
is like, no, I cannot be wrong. I know everything. So I think being open-minded, especially to like when you're researching like spiritual stuff, because I know a lot of things in the spiritual realm are very like out of the world, like things that you've never entertained before, things you've never thought before that existed, going against everything that you've ever learned. So I think being open-minded to those things and thinking, you know what, maybe my current programming isn't accurate, maybe everything that I know right now isn't actually the right way, maybe that's why I'm here and do rock bottom.
Mm.
So being open-minded, definitely. Then I think accepting that obviously you may have been wrong, like not everything that you have been taught has been right. So accepting that you may have been wrong and also questioning everything that you have believed, and really delving deep into, why do I believe that? Why do I believe God is like this? Why do I believe the world is like this? Why do I believe there's scarcity? Why do I believe that I'm inherently unworthy and that I need to chase for validation, things like that, right? So questioning is very important. And then basically one another a piece of advice that I would give to somebody who's trying to self-improve is being compassionate to yourself, right? Because when you're trying to improve yourself, you realize that there are a lot of things, ineffective systems, belief systems that you had within yourself that were running your current programming, which is why you may not be where you want to be. So a lot of the times when we're trying to improve, we can sometimes be judging ourselves at our past self, thinking, oh, why was I so dumb? Why did I do this? Like, how could I have not known better? And I think having just that compassion and that love and that understanding for yourself, like being a parent to yourself and thinking, you know what, like my inner child made a few mistakes and it's okay, he was doing the best with what they could. And then that way you're building up your self-love as well, which is essentially kind of self-improving because
Mm.
you're showing yourself compassion because you're trying to improve, then you're showing yourself self-love, which means you're improving already, because that's what self-improvement's about, like self-love, wisdom, knowledge, and remembering who you are rather than discovering, because your soul actually knows everything there is to know about you, about the world, about life, about God. And you're going through a process of remembering that, not like discovering who you are. It's kind of learning who you were that you forgot that you were.
Thank you so much for that. Where
You're welcome.
can everybody find you, my beautiful girl?
Okay, so I am on TikTok at I am Ria Rani with two eyes, and it's the same handle for my Instagram as well. I am looking to create and start working on a YouTube channel as well. So when that comes out, I'll have to update
So
you.
excited.
Yes,
So yeah, I'll
me
link
too.
I'll link them all up as well. But yeah, what are you gonna think? What are you gonna put on your YouTube channel? What are you thinking?
Well, to be honest, I kind of want to elaborate like on my TikTok content. Sometimes on TikTok you're a bit limited for time, and I feel like YouTube may be a better, more suitable platform for people who are kind of invested in longer form content, which I think I would be good at because I do like
You
talking.
are. No, you're great. And also you can also put your TikToks on there as well. So you've got a bit of
Yeah,
both. So, or as shorts. Oh no, you can't do them as shorts because they have to be under a minute, I think, right now on YouTube.
yeah, I will. I think I was gonna ask you actually because I remember when I was on your podcast YouTube, and then I saw that you posted a TikTok as a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to let me know later
Yeah,
how
because
you
that
did the
one's like
editing
over
and
a
all
minute,
that.
that's why. And I thought
See,
it's
that's
kind
what I
of like
mean.
giving like a main episode, like a little mini main episode, that's why. But my shorts they have to be under a minute at the moment, unfortunately.
I
But
know
yeah, of
it's
course I'll
more
help you, girl.
pressure.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
To end this episode, I thought it would be so amazing and honorable for you to, is that a word? Does that make sense? Honorable.
Yeah, it
I
is.
would feel
It's
honored. Yeah, there we go. I'd feel
yes.
honored if you could share one of your poetries. I think we thought that life would be great to end with. Is this like your debut performance?
Yes.
Oh my God, this is like an exclusive. I'm so
This is
excited.
the first time.
Been there, done chat exclusive.
I love it. Yeah. Let's
Oh my God,
see.
my heart. I don't know if you get this, but when you feel love, you can physically, like not even emotion, physically feel your heart. Every time, like when you were speaking just then, my heart, like it was like I could physically feel it pumping, basically. I get that when
Our
I
hearts are
speak to you in
connected.
Priya. Honestly, oh my gosh.
I love that so much. Soul tribe, baby. What do you expect?
Oh,
We're soulmates.
we really are.
Okay. Life. Life is beautiful. Life is magical. Life is love. Yeah, why do I sometimes feel empty? How can I be so forgetful in my moments of sadness? The unfathomable support I have, the love that is beaten by my heart through every part of my body, the divine guidance that leads me through every trial and lesson. How can I be so forgetful of the universe, my best friend, my lover, my teacher, me? It is too easy to find yourself being drowned alive, suffocating in silence, dying on the inside. But to stay there, that's a slippery slope where all hope fades into nothingness, where the numbness sucks out any life inside you out, where even the silence is deafening. Despite it all, it is important that you remember, no matter how difficult the days may be, no matter how hard it is to hold it together, no matter how small you feel, no matter how ugly society can be, no matter what trials may visit, just remember that you will always, always, always be okay. Okay? Life loves you. Life supports you. Life believes in you. Life guides you. Life is you. Remember that. Repeat that. Meditate on that. Recite that like the hymns they cry out in churches. You are life. Life is you. Everything you see is you looking back at you. So even if you feel broken and hurt, always remember that life doesn't want to hurt you. She just wants to nurture your growth. And what is growth without rupture? What is childbirth without being torn apart to create something beautiful, something anew, something like you? Oh, it feels so good to read that out.
I love you so much.
I love you too, baby.
Oh my gosh. So beautiful, especially, the line about even, being torn with the giving birth and stuff. It just shows that you have to go through such hardship in order to come out and make something so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, I love you so much. You'll never understand. You'll never get it. Oh.
Honestly, the feeling is mutual. If I had to hug you as much as I love you, I think I'll probably kill you. Like, squeeze the air out of you. You know when you see a child, it's so cute. You're just like, oh. I just feel that with you.
Oh, thank you so much for your time. I'm so endlessly grateful for you. I love you.
I love you, babe. Thank you so much for having me. This has been so, so beautiful, so enriching, and it's been a pleasure. Genuinely, it's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you.